Welcome to the Main Money Show. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main, President, and Adam Freund, CRC of Main Financial Group. To our viewers at home, very important topic we have for you today. Of course, this show is all about where Wall Street meets Main Street, but on today's show specifically, we're talking a little bit about a topic that most people may not think about until they get into the retirement years. We're going to talk a little bit about baggage. Well, what does that look like? Financial obligations, debt, sometimes IRAs. It's a big picture that people often can carry with them into the retirement years. We're going to do a deep dive into some of those hidden baggages, if you will, as you enter that stage of life. Jordan, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Excited to be back with you.
I am so excited about today's show. Well, not because it's about debt, but just in general. Adam, how are you today?
I'm like a Roth IRA. I'm tax-free and full of potential.
Oh, I love that.
So
and
bad.
Nice plug for the Roth IRA.
I'm so sorry.
Well, before we get too serious, which we never do on the show, but
How are you?
I'm fabulous.
There
Thank you for
There you
asking. I don't have a good comeback like you just did, though. So let's have fun for just a little bit. Let's talk a little bit, if we could go back and remember our very first credit card, the very first one that you were granted. Now, did you have fun with it? Did you pay it in full every month? Or did you get into a little bit of trouble? Let's talk a little bit about that.
All right. I remember mine like yesterday. Sears credit card. Remember Sears?
I sure
I don't
do.
think they're
Yes.
around anymore,
No,
are they?
not
I remember
Sears.
that big catalog from Sears.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I was a freshman in college, 18 years old, and I got my first Sears credit card. And of course, in college, you don't have any money. So I decided for Christmas that year that every single gift that I bought would be from Sears.
There you go.
And no matter the age, from grandma to the siblings, it was all coming from Sears. And then I got the bill in January for Christmas. So it was a great Sears Christmas. How about you, Adam?
Well, at Michigan State University, probably very similar. They used to have people set up all over campus. Hey, sign up for a free credit card.
I remember that.
So I got a Master Charge before it was called Master Card. And it was a $500 limit. I thought I was the richest guy in the world. I ended up charging it up pretty. I think I bought everybody drinks, and then I got that first bill, and I had to call the Shermanator. Dad, I got a little bit of trouble here. So yeah, it's not good. What about you?
I did the same thing. I had to call my mom and dad because my first credit card, do you remember the store Elder Beerman? I think they're okay.
I do.
I was so excited because I used to do layaway a lot when I was younger. And so I'd make the payments and, you get to the end and you make that final payment, you get that big giant, thing of clothes and you're like, yay. Well, credit card made it instant. So then all of a sudden I would go shopping and I'm like, no, I'll just pay it later when I get paid. It literally skyrocketed. So I had to call my mom and dad and say, Mom, Dad, could you help me? But anyway, memories, right?
Right.
Well, why are so many people overall right now, just really literally across the country, entering their retirement years with so much debt, so much baggage, especially when they stop working? Gentlemen, what do you think about that? Why is that an issue right now?
Yeah, I think just look at the last 10 years, right? Like the cost of living, the inflation. At least in Metro Detroit and Michigan, 10 years ago, $50,000 or $60,000 a year was a great income in retirement.
Absolutely.
Now that's borderline, not poverty, but very low. So the cost of everything across the board from food, look at the cost of housing. You know a thing or two about real estate, right, Cynthia?
Yes.
For retired people, it's a whole new ballgame now. It used to be put your money in retirement accounts, defer until you're retired because your income will be lower in retirement. You won't need as much money. Well, that theory is out the door based on all the current expenses.
Very true.
I also think, too, because of the last 10 years, we started the last 10 years with a very low interest rates, and those have all started creeping way up, not just in homes, but look at the credit card companies. As soon as the interest rate went up, they jacked those credit rates up, too. And now the minimum payments are higher. And people that are entering into retirement in debt, it becomes more and more difficult. They're going to have more and more money in order for them to even keep up with what it is that they've got there. The only thing that I will tell you is that we get people that come in that want to pay off their mortgage, and their mortgage rate is sitting at 2.5%, 3%. And I said, well, what about your credit card? What do you mean? No, focus on the 16% interest rate first. Don't worry about the 2 or 3%.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the comments about not having mortgages paid off. Well, I think there's a new retirement. The old retirement was you lived in the same house forever, you paid it off, you retired from Ford or General Motors or Chrysler in our area.
Yep.
And now people want to have second homes in Florida or out west somewhere. The cost of college, cost of health care for retirees. So we have seen a huge pendulum shift of most people don't have their house paid off when they retire. Whereas I'd say 10 to 15 years ago, a majority of people by the time they retired were at the very end, just a few payments left.
Right.
A huge change.
Huge.
It has been. And what about the rising healthcare costs that we're in right now? So many people, they get sick, and unfortunately, maybe insurance doesn't cover everything, or Medicare, what have you. And then all of a sudden, you're getting those medical bills that are coming in. What about those folks as well?
Well, I mean, obviously, it becomes very much of a problem, especially if it's something that is like a heart attack or something like that, where the expenses at the hospitals have gone up tremendously. Medicare, it seems that Medicare is not keeping up. There's issues about now about they're talking about funding Medicare and Social Security. So we've got a lot of issues, a lot of balls in the air or plates in the air, as you like to say.
Right, and as the expenses have gone up, people have to take on more income. So they have to withdraw more out of their retirement plans or create a higher income. And then that's going to increase the cost on Medicare.
Right.
So it's kind of like one problem then triggers another problem. So healthcare is a huge part. It's a good question, Cynthia. And we haven't even started to talk about long-term care yet towards the end of life. The first part is when we first retire, and then what if we retire before 65?
Yeah.
65 is when we all can get on Medicare.
Yes.
Well, we have to buy private insurance. I don't know when the last time you quoted out private insurance, but on a 60 to 65-year-old family,
It's a lot.
it's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And then you have, I don't know in your area specifically, but what about the sandwich generation? What I mean by that is they're not only taking care of children, maybe adult children even, but also sometimes parents. Talk a little bit about that and how that can weigh on someone's baggage, if you will, financially.
Yeah, I think that I am a sandwich generation. You're a sandwich generation. I've got, luckily, I've got parents that are somewhat healthy. My mom has a little bit of a memory issue, but the Shermanator, healthy. I've got a daughter that's still at Michigan State. But what we're seeing as people come in, hey, I'm having to take care of my mother, or we're deciding whether or not to put her in assisted living or a home. And that becomes an issue as well, because now how do you pay for it? If you don't have long-term care insurance, it's coming out of probably their assets first, then the children's, when I say first, the parents' assets first, then the children's assets. And now they're also worrying about their kid. Is the kid have a job yet? How are we getting them through college?
I think we'd all agree. We all have children here. Children are living at home a lot longer.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was, when I was 18, it was off to college and then creating my career.
Right.
And now it's very common that kids live at home all through their 20s, which makes sense to save some money versus going to get into a big apartment lease or car lease or what have you. And that is taking a bit of a toll on parents.
Yep.
I mean, most parents aren't going to say, okay, young Johnny, you're going to start paying me $1,000 a month for food or rent or what have you. So it is the sandwich generation. You're hitting it on both sides, plus trying to still plan for your retirement.
I have a solution. We'll have the kid take care of the grandmother.
Oh, perfect.
I have an even better solution. What about the RIPT report? Because I don't want to go to commercial break and have this be so depressing for viewers at home.
There you go.
The RIPT report has solutions for those folks that are having some financial burdens, if you will.
Yeah,
Jordan, can we talk
took
about
a
it?
look, and we think there are really 4 key areas to someone's financial plan, and we say get ripped. And the R stands for make sure that you're evaluating your risk appropriately. Are you taking as much or as little risk as you want in your portfolio? Risk can get growth, but it also can get loss, right?
Yep.
The I is income. Do you have an income plan, or is it an income guess? What do you think is the most amount of income you can get out of your portfolio? Come see us. We'll show you if we can. We're pretty sure we can get you more.
Yes.
The P stands for a portfolio analysis. Stress test your portfolio. Do you have a healthy retirement account? How are all your stocks and different holdings? And then the T is my favorite, Uncle Sam, taxes. Do you have a plan for taxes? How do we get Uncle Sam out of your pocketbook?
Perfect. Jordan, thank you so much. And Adam, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, this is your opportunity to get ripped. Call in today, 888-462-7839. 888-462-7839. Or if you're rushing out the door, we've made it even simpler. Go ahead, grab your smartphone, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That takes you right to the landing page of the Main Financial Group, if you will, and you can schedule your time accordingly. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to talk about some solutions for those that are burdened by debt at this time. Stay tuned.
I was an accountant by trade out of school, out of Michigan State, and I absolutely hated brokers, financial advisors, whatever they wanted to call themselves. I was a tax accountant, and we would share a mutual client, and this broker would advise our mutual client to buy, sell, and never do any tax strategy, and I was left to clean up the mess. So I went to the client and said, please talk to your broker and tell him to knock this off or begin to do some strategy, and the typical broker response was, I'm not licensed to do that. I can't talk about taxes. So I basically decided to get my investment securities license and all my other licenses out of spite so that we could do all the tax planning as part of the investment strategy for our clients. The value of choice, as we always say, if you go to a big box firm, they're going to have one of 6 portfolios, let's say, and you're going to fit into one of those. The value of working with an independent advisor, especially a fiduciary like we are, is that they have to do what's in your best interest, and they can use any program that's licensed out there in America. So a huge difference. After 20 plus years on this side of the fence, I think our industry does a poor job at explaining to the public the difference of those two. I come from a culture of helping people and educating them, not just telling them what to do. So I think people that truly want to educate make a big difference in this industry.
Welcome back to the Main Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main and Adam Freund of Main Financial Group. And we're talking all about sometimes that unexpected burden of debt, that baggage that sometimes you can carry with you into retirement. But there are solutions for you. So thank you for staying with us today. So today's show is very important and very timely. I know a lot of our viewers in the viewing audience right now, they're asking themselves, gosh, do I have enough financially to get through my retirement years? But something else that can often sneak up on people that they're not expecting, IRAs, those can sometimes be a problem for folks. Talk a little bit in depth about why that is, the IRAs.
Yeah, the IRA or the 401k or all the pre-tax accounts are essentially just a partnership with Uncle Sam, right, Adam? We put our money into an account, we get some great tax deferral, but at the end of the day, when we pull money out, how is it taxed?
It's taxed as capital gains?
No, it's not.
Oh, man.
It's all taxed as ordinary income. And that is a big issue for a lot of retirees, that they don't plan their IRA distributions correctly. What we see, probably the biggest mistake in retirement, is people try to buy a capital asset, a car, a house, with money out of an IRA. Well, we have to take, and those are just 2 different items on your balance sheet, right? Let's use a house, second home, and an IRA. They're taking money out of the IRA to go buy a second home in Florida, but they're triggering tax along the way. So you have to take out a significant amount more just to net the amount to buy the house. Wow. IRAs should be meant solely to replace income. Not to buy big purchases. And all the time we see people say, I've retired and I've got $1 million or $2 million or $3 million in your retirement account, and we say, no, you don't, because a chunk of that's Uncle Sam's. And that's a big step that people have to get over, to say IRAs need a distribution plan. And then if you don't have one and you wait too long at age 73, and now they're changing it for even farther, required minimum distributions, they're going to hit you with a penalty if you don't take it.
Yikes.
The other thing is too, there are certain things that you could use the IRA to pay off. And I'll give you an example. If you've got a credit card with a pretty big balance on it, I think maybe using some IRA funds to pay that off. But if you're sitting on a house, again, at 3% interest, and you just don't want to see a payment anymore, that's a terrible thing to do.
Yeah, and I think it's why it's so important now to consider Roth IRAs, right?
Yes.
So Roth IRAs are 100% tax-free, and back in 2010, they changed the rule that no matter what your age or income level, you can take any IRA and convert it to a Roth IRA. Now you pay tax when you do that, so there's some delicate parts in there. But then the Roth IRA grows 100% tax-free.
I wish we had a website that actually would let you see what kind of savings.
We do, Adam.
That would be
We've
awesome.
created this tool that is 100% free for people to use to go do their own IRA planning to see if a Roth conversion is right for them. It's called maintaxbill.com.
Love that.
Again, maintaxbill.com, and you just input a few pieces. Your age, your amount of pre-tax assets, what you think you're going to get a rate of return, and what you think your tax bracket is, and you can play a million different scenarios, and it will create your own custom tax report, totally free. And even for those of you that have advisors out there, you could use this tool with your current advisor. That's how generous we are, Cynthia.
Yes.
I think that's so awesome. And I absolutely love that website, maintaxbill.com, because like you mentioned, it's so easy to put your information in. You can tailor it to many different scenarios. It's definitely worth a visit. Once again, folks, maintaxbill.com. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some changes actually that came with the Secure Act. It eliminated the stretch IRA. Talk a little bit about how sometimes that's a surprise that people weren't expecting in retirement.
Well, I mean, it used to be the stretch IRA. What that meant is that whatever age you were at the time that your, let's say your father passed away and he gave it to you, he gave you his IRA, you used to be able to stretch that out over your lifetime. Mm-hmm. Essentially, the IRS used to say, okay, Adam, you're 60 years old. Yes, I'm 60 years old, and the average age of your death is 84, and they'll work some sort of formula, and they'll let you stretch that out. That's 24 years to be able to take money out. You're taking that out every year, but it's de minimis, as you would say. But now, what have they done?
Yeah, now you have to take it all out within a 10-year period. And why is that important? Because you talked about stretching it over your lifetime. The kids pay income tax on that IRA. So many people don't realize that.
Oh, wow.
That IRA of yours is a tax bomb for your children. And so now they've changed it where you have to, the children have to take it all out within 10 years, which is going to increase their tax bracket and ultimately pay higher tax on their salary and their wages. So if you don't need your IRA, do not give it to your kids. So in the last section there, we talked about converting IRAs to a tax-free Roth for you while you're alive. If you're in the position of saying, I've got X amount in my IRA and maybe I don't need half of it or a third of it or even all of it, we could show you a way to put that, what we call our IRA legacy program, where we can slowly transition it into a tax-free vehicle that could be 2, 3, 4, 5 times as much as your IRA to your kids tax-free. So there are so many things you can do with your IRAs, but doing nothing is an absolute terrible idea.
And if your current advisor is not talking to you about this, you need to give us a call.
Most definitely. And again, what I'm thinking too, what you mentioned, Jordan, is the reason this is such a problem is a lot of times when people are in the age where they're receiving some inheritance, if you will, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't they also in their highest income earning years more than likely? So you already have a tax implication right there, if you will, and then it kind of skyrockets if it's not planned for.
It compounds and compounds. And if you look at right now, taxes are on sale. I think we're in the third lowest environment of taxes in our nation's history. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's right about third.
Somewhere there.
This is now the time to begin to explore Roth IRA conversions or repositioning that IRA into a legacy program for your kids if you don't need it. It's so imperative to do the planning now. Taxes are on sale.
Most definitely.
We really don't know what's going to happen either at the end of this year. We just don't know if Congress is going to pass a bill to keep the tax brackets where they are. Mm-hmm. So the problem is, where are the tax brackets? Cynthia,
yes.
Where are the tax brackets going to be 5 years from now?
Well, I'm going to have to say, without the crystal ball, that they're going to be up, but I don't know where. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
More than likely.
Well, and if they do nothing this year, at the end of this year, what happens? It reverts back to where it was in 2016. And not only were all the individual percentages up, the bandwidth for each bracket shrinks. Think about like your spine shrinking or what have you. So it's kind of a double whammy. Okay. Right, so we're going to pay more tax on less income, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's why 2025 is the time to take a look at some serious tax strategy.
Yep.
And it's also time to talk about getting ripped. Who wants to take this one on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about that in the last section. So essentially, this is 2 meetings out of your life to come in and get your own customized report. We call it the RIP report, and the RIPT. Is to make sure that you're taking on the right amount of risk that you want, not what someone tells you. Doesn't matter your age, it's what you want. The I is to make sure that you've got a solid income plan, not an income guess. We can show you how to maximize that income in your retirement portfolio. And the P is portfolio. Make sure we're healthy. We'll stress test that portfolio. Put your portfolio on the you ever do that? The stress test on the tab?
have,
No?
yes.
That's right. And then the T, we talked about this whole segment, was taxes. Come in and we can help you put together your own personal tax strategy.
I love that, Jordan. Thank you so much. And Adam, thank you as always I love your commentary and also the way you have, just beautiful. There's a number to call on your screen, 888-462-7839. And this is your opportunity, viewers at home, to get ripped. Don't miss this opportunity. Once again, 888-462-7839. Or if you're rushing out the door, grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page of Main Financial Group, and you can schedule your time accordingly for a complimentary consultation. Better still, if you'd like to figure out your tax implication, please go to maintaxbill.com. That's maintaxbill.com. We'll be right back momentarily. Don't go anywhere.
Think your retirement savings are all yours? Think again. Your 401k, IRA, or pension comes with a tax bill from Uncle Sam, and it could be bigger than what you expect. Want to find out how much? Our quick and easy tax calculator can show you right now. Plus, see if a Roth IRA conversion might help lower your future tax burden. Just scan the QR code or visit maintaxbill.com.
Welcome back to the Main Money Show, where Wall Street meets Main Street. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Jordan Main. He's president of Main Financial Group, as well as Adam Freund, CRC at Main Financial Group. We're talking all about how to plan your perfect retirement, and if you're carrying some debt into retirement, today's show is all about uncovering solutions, and most importantly, income in retirement. Gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about that, the importance of generating different income streams in retirement to help alleviate some of this debt that people are carrying. What can they look for? What can they do?
Yeah, I think what is the biggest fear of retirees right now? What if I screw up and live too long?
Yes.
What
running
if
out of money.
I outlive my money, right? And you know, before the days of my grandfather retiring, you worked at Ford's with an S, Ford's till 62, and then you retire and you sit in the lazy boy till about 75, maybe 80. Now, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the world. And I know we talked about that in other shows before, but there is a retirement now, it could be 30 years, and an active 30 years. And we talk about different phases in retirement. We break it down to thirds. The first third, what do we call it? The
go-go years.
The go-go years. You're a honeymooner. You just retired. You want to do all the bucket list things that you haven't done yet. Yep. And then the next third, we're settling into our retirement.
Slow-go years.
And we call it the slow-go years. That's right. We're not getting on as many planes, but grandkids are coming to see us maybe. And then the last third we call
no-go years.
The no-go years, and we're a lot of doctor's appointments and in and out of hospitals and
Sitting
things.
on a porch, drinking the lemonade in the rocking chair.
So your income plan has to be able to adapt these changing times and this longevity. Again, what if we screw up and live too long?
Yeah, and what we find is that go-go years, that's really actually when they're going to spend the most money.
Yes.
There's only one category that goes up as we get older, and that we already talked about, and that was healthcare.
Healthcare.
So healthcare, you can include long-term care into that, because the odds of a married couple, of one of them having to need long-term care is, I think it's around 75%, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the good news is there's also that same study said that about 75% are going to make it into their 90s. So at least one of the two of them.
Right, and I think that's why it's so important to have a written plan, an income plan, not an income guess.
Right.
Right, and that's, so many people think, well, I'm just going to do the 4% rule. Well, that means where you just take out 4% of your portfolio and let it go up and down, and you'll never run out of money. Well, the 2000 and 2010 kind of destroyed the 4% rule. And we always say, a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah. That is very true.
It's so important to have a written financial plan, and that's why that's part of our RIP report, is to say, know what is the most amount of income, if you put the rev limiter all the way down, how much can your income generate maximized? Or you might need a little less than that, but at least have an understanding of where you are.
Sure. And another important component, which we talked about in the prior segment, though, overall tax planning in retirement, these strategies that can be implemented today to help alleviate some of the baggage that people are carrying. Talk a little bit more about the strategies, please.
I think the tax strategy and an income strategy are neck and neck,
Yes.
1 and 2 in
One and two.
retirement, right? So
Yes.
as we said before, taxes are on sale. You can't kick well, I guess you could, but you shouldn't kick the can down the road anymore.
Yeah.
Now is the time to implement a tax-free retirement. We've got that free tool online that we talked about,
Love that.
maintaxbill.com. Go and do it yourself. It's a very complex subject that we've made pretty simple with this calculator.
It is simple.
And if we don't need our retirement accounts, look at passing it to your kids in a legacy form that doesn't impact their tax bracket. So
Yes.
we can't stress this enough. I know we beat the
But I feel like I should be wearing like a sales outfit and saying, taxes are on sale, come now, buy now.
We need
Yes.
that Uncle Sam hat.
There you go. There you go.
Can you make your beard longer?
I could.
And overall, I think really importantly, before we close out today, tax preparation and tax planning are two different things. Talk about why it's important to understand that.
Well, and that's kind of how I got into this business. I was a public accountant before, and I saw how stressed public accountants are just looking in the rearview mirror doing tax preparation.
Yes.
And anytime a client would go ask their advisor, what about tax planning? The advisor says what? Go talk to your CPA.
accountant.
You go to the CPA says, I'm doing tax returns. I don't have time to look forward, pings it back to the advisor. The
true.
advisor says, I'm not licensed. I can't talk about taxes.
Whoa, don't talk to
so
me.
we saw this area for tax planning that we jumped into, and essentially that's how I got into the industry 6 years ago. And we think it is what sets us apart around Metro Detroit is our ability to do tax planning.
Right.
All right, perfect. I love that. And it most definitely does set you apart. Well, gentlemen, our final opportunity to talk a little bit about the RIPT report. Adam, take it away with your beautiful demonstration.
This is
Jordan?
the RIPT report.
Yeah, the offer for everyone watching today is give us a call or scan the QR code to come in. 2 meetings out of your life. The first meeting is we do just a general get to know each other, tell us what you like and don't like about your portfolio. The second one is to come back and get your free RIP report, which is customized in 4 areas for you. The R to make sure that you're taking the right amount of risk, you're not driving too fast or too slow with your portfolio. The I is income. Do you have an income plan, an income guess? What's the max income you can get? Or maybe you need a little less than that, but we can show you what it might be. The portfolio, make sure you're healthy with your portfolio. Stress test that thing. Make sure that all your fees and your growth is in line. And lastly, we talked a lot about this show. Now is the time for a tax plan.
Jordan, thank you so much. Adam, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today. This is your opportunity to get ripped. Once again, 888-462-7839 or visit maintaxbill.com. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today. Take care.